India and the United States are often described as world's natural partners.
That India and the United States are natural partners because we have so much in common.
This relationship was never natural. It was built brick by brick through crisis, diplomacy, trade, and leadership of both countries.
The Minister and I had a very good discussion about the progress we're making on this particular part of the war.
Well, it is a great pleasure to welcome back my friend.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your partnership and your friendship.
A man who came from a reality TV show, a man who treats the White House like a stage, a man whose decisions are impulsive, erratic, and often harmful.
The President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump.
Let's rewind.
And then
India. Tell me about India. Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No.
I spoke with Prime Minister Modi of India, and he said he's not going to be doing the Russian oil thing. So
the real culprits here have been China and India in terms of buying.
Hello everybody and welcome to Borders and Beyond. When India became independent in 1947, Washington expected New Delhi to join US-led bloc in the Cold War. But India chose non-alignment, not pro-America, not pro-Soviet Union, independent. And the US didn't like it. Instead, Washington found a simpler, more obedient servant in the name of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Military aid, economic aid, CETO, Pakistan was the front-line servant. India was a more moral power. Pakistan was a strategic asset. By the 1960s, India-US ties had become distant, confused, and purely transactional. Then came 1971, the Bangladesh Liberation War.
At 4 p.m. on the 16th of December 1971, Lieutenant General A.A.K. Niazi signed the instrument of surrender and placed himself and his troops under the command of Lieutenant General J.S. Arora, GOC in C, Eastern Command, who also held command of the Bangladesh forces.
The moment of maximum distrust as India fought to stop a mass genocide in East Pakistan and supported Bangladesh's freedom struggle, Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger chose Pakistan. The US sent the USS Enterprise, a nuclear-powered, extremely large aircraft carrier, into the Bay of Bengal to intimidate India. Washington backed Pakistan diplomatically. India saw it clearly. America was not a friend.
National revenue from the proposal is expected to be of the order of rupees 60 crore. I also propose to revise upward the existing specific rates of excise duty on tires, tubes and flaps.
For the next 20 years, the ties remained extremely cold, but everything changed in 1991. India opened its economy. Foreign investments came in, Indian talent transformed the Silicon Valley, and Washington DC suddenly saw a new opportunity, a rising India that could counterbalance China. This was the beginning of a strategic reset. During the Kargil War, Nawaz Sharif flew to Washington, D.C. on 4th July 1999 seeking support. Clinton listened and then told him very clearly, withdraw, India is right. For the first time, America publicly sided with India against a Pakistan in an open military conflict.
I am particularly pleased that we have reached an understanding on the implementation of our agreement on civil nuclear cooperation.
As the Prime Minister mentioned, we concluded an historic agreement today on nuclear power.
Of all the US presidents, George Bush is often remembered in India as the one who truly changed this relationship. He pushed for something absolutely unthinkable at that point of time, and that was the Indo-US civil nuclear deal. This deal recognized India as a responsible nuclear power outside the NPT. It ended decades of nuclear isolation for India. It opened the door for a strategic cooperation, defense ties, and technology transfers. So George Bush laid the foundation for a true partnership.
America wants to be your partner in igniting the next wave of Indian growth. As India pursues more trade and investment, we want to be first in line. We're ready to join you in building new infrastructure, the roads and the airports, the ports, the bullet trains to propel India into the future.
Then came Barack Hussein Obama, although coming from a different party, but he built on the Bush's work. He cleared approvals for nuclear reactors by US companies. He declared India as a major defense partner. He supported India's entry into a global export control regimes. He strengthened military exercises and intelligence cooperation. Under Obama, India went from just good friends to a strategic partners. But his most powerful gesture came in Mumbai 2010, Obama's 26/11 symbolism. Barack Obama began his India trip not from New Delhi, but at the Taj Hotel at the site of 26/11 attack. He honored the victims. He stood with India against terrorism.
My friend, India's friend, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump.
America loves India. America respects India. And America will always be faithful and loyal friends to the Indian people.
Trump's first term was a bit contradictory but highly productive. He pushed India on the trade issues. He also approved major defense deals: Chinook heavy lift helicopters, Apache helicopters, C-17 Globemaster, P-81 Poseidon submarine hunters, M77 howitzers, MH Seahawks. These platforms transformed India's military capability. Indian Americans also rose to position of power: CEOs, senators, policymakers. The community became America's most successful immigrant group. Economically, trade touched record highs. Strategically, China's aggression had made India and America closest ever.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your partnership and your friendship.
Under Joe Biden, India-US relationship touched its strongest point. The Quad became highly active. Semiconductor partnerships were launched. Defense manufacturing agreements expanded. Visa rules were relaxed for Indian professionals. Cooperation in space, cyber, and clean energy had widened. Many analysts said India-US ties peaked during 2022 to 2023.
I spoke with Prime Minister Modi of India, and he said he's not going to be doing the Russian oil thing. So that's it.
We're doing a lot on Russia, but the real culprits here have been the China and India in terms of buying.
And then came the disaster of January 2025. What took 25 years to build started shaking within months. Trump returned to power with three obsessions: tariff everywhere, Nobel Peace Prize obsession, and weakening multilateral alliances and global commitments. Operation Sindoor happened. 6 planes, 7 planes during India's Operation Sindoor. Trump kept repeating all these things that India suffered losses. It was mocking, it was unnecessary, and it shocked India's diplomat. Suddenly, the warmth for Pakistan, Trump began calling Pakistan a potential partner. He floated bizarre ideas like Pakistan will sell oil to India. He praised Pakistan generals. He hinted at mediating in Kashmir once again, something India has categorically always rejected. Calling India and Russia dead economies in one speech, Trump declared India and Russia are absolute dead economies. This instantly damaged public sentiment. Both countries saw it as a big disrespect. Derailing 20 years of strategy against China for decades, Washington DC wanted India as a balancing force against China. But Trump totally sidelined India, praised Pakistan, questioned alliances, creating confusion within the entire Indo Pacific strategy. For decades, India's engineers built the American IT sector, but Trump repeatedly attacked them. Trump publicly floated a plan implying companies should pay enormous fees to hire foreign workers. Media coverage interpreted the proposal as extreme, widely criticized by CEOs. He later backtracked, saying that it was a one time fee. The message was clear: Trump does not value Indian talent. Then comes the H-1B statement. Trump repeatedly said H-1B visas is very bad for American workers. He claimed without evidence that the Americans were being replaced by cheap brown people from India. According to Washington Post, Trump said that US should take more immigrants from Norway rather than shithole countries. He is very clear he wants to make America a white Christian only country. Lawmakers said that his comment reflected Trump's clear preference for white Christian immigrants, indirectly hinting that he does not want brown skinned immigrants coming predominantly from India. This sent shockwaves throughout the Indian American community. Even the US analysts said the same. Just yesterday, a prominent US lawmaker publicly stated.
And then what happened? Flush, flush, flush down the toilet the capital that Americans have built over decades in service of Trump's personal grievances and at the expense of our national interests. And unless he changes course, Trump will be the American president that lost India, or more accurately, that chased India away, while reviving.
As you know, Trump has imposed 50% tariff. But who is the person who is going to pay this additional amount? This additional amount is going to be paid by a normal American. Trump imposed tariff on Indian goods. Price of the American goods will increase. And who is going to take the blame for it? The blame for it is going to be India. And suddenly, the Indian immigrant, the engineer, the Indian doctor, the entrepreneur started receiving the blame in this political rhetoric. And the Indian community that had built some of the greatest American companies are now being unfairly targeted for their color, for their background, and for their Hindu religion. So let's be honest, India US relations were never perfect. It took 3 to 4 decades to create trust, and in less than 1 year, a reckless decision has destroyed everything, embarrassed American institutions, confused his allies, strengthened China indirectly, raised inflation for American consumers, hurt the image of Indo Americans, created suspicion in the mind of political leadership in New Delhi, all because of one man who wanted headlines, one man who wanted to negotiate theatrically, one man who kept chasing the Nobel Peace Prize using Pakistan as his servant. Not a national interest, no long term vision, just self interest. India and America are still important for each other, extremely important. Democracy, innovation, defense, technology partnership is just too big to fail. But today, the relationship is weak, it's cold, and more uncertain than it has ever been in the last 40 years. Not because of systems, not because of people, not because of national interest, but because of miscalculation and obsession of one man who put ego over strategy. The question now is, can India and United States repair this damage? Or will the next few years become the new 1971 movement, a turning point of distrust? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching Borders and Beyond. Jai Hind.